There is a profound and ancient error that many have committed, and many still do, the belief that evil comes with a warning, with snarling threats and visible menace, that it wears horns and howls with hate. But the truth is far more chilling. Evil is rarely so careless. It does not announce itself with danger. Instead, it arrives quietly, disarmingly, with a gentle tone, a charming smile, and cloaked in all the traits we've learned to associate with goodness. If the devil can masquerade as an angel of light, then surely so can his messengers. And among them, none are more convincing than narcissists. They do not come with fangs bared. They come with flattering words, warm eyes, and magnetic charm. They speak the language of love, not because they feel it, but because they've studied what you long to hear. Their self-confidence is mistaken for integrity, their charisma for character, their control for care. We are a people often captivated by appearances, and so, time and again, we fall. We fall for the polished figure who speaks of unity while sowing division behind closed doors. We give our hearts to the lover who pours affection until our boundaries collapse. We follow the spiritual guide whose sermons draw others not to God, but subtly to themselves. They masterfully disguise their hunger with holiness. And because we expected evil to look monstrous, we miss the wolves who have learned to wear sheep's clothing. The danger lies not just in their presence, but in our failure to see through them. We hesitate to believe that someone so eloquent, so graceful, could be capable of harm, and in that hesitation they gain power. That is how darkness works, not by extinguishing light, but by pretending to be light. The narcissist understands this instinctively. Their strength lies not in obvious cruelty, but in the perfection of their disguise. They do not demand your trust. They make you want to give it. They echo your hopes, reflect your dreams, and mirror your soul, or so it seems. But this is not love, it is manipulation. And the most dangerous kind of manipulation is the one that dresses itself up as devotion. The counterfeit always looks more like the real thing than its opposite. Yet once you get close enough, you begin to see the cracks. The praise they showered you with starts to feel like worship, demanded, not earned. Their approval becomes a leash, not a gift. You are rewarded when you comply and punished, subtly, silently, when you don't. The warmth you once felt is conditional. Once you stop feeding their ego, the coldness arrives swiftly. That is the hidden danger. Not that they deceive the world, but that they deceive you. You begin to question yourself, doubt your instincts, and blame your confusion on your own flaws. They won't rage at you, not at first. They'll softly suggest you're too sensitive, too emotional, too lucky to be noticed by them at all. The trap is not just emotional, it is spiritual. It whispers, bow here and you will be safe. But no soul was created to bow to another. We were created to bow only before God. And every time we surrender to a narcissist's illusion, we trade divine dignity for false security. It is a bitter bargain. Your voice dims, your joy fades, your clarity disappears. But hear this, there is still hope. God's spirit is never deceived, and when he stirs your soul, what once was a faint whisper becomes a mighty call. You rise, not in rage, but in revelation. You begin to see clearly, not just who they are, but who you will no longer be, a pawn in someone else's kingdom. Evil often begins with charm, with kindness, with false gifts, but only to take later what was never theirs to hold. Yet when the veil lifts, truth, though painful, frees. Narcissism wears the face of light, but births only darkness. That is the dreadful paradox. Because if it came snarling, we'd flee. But instead it arrives cloaked in beauty, speaking the language of purpose, passion, and righteousness. It quotes scripture and mimics saints, but it is all performance. This is not simply a personality flaw, it is a spiritual counterfeit. The narcissist does not just want admiration, they crave worship. They don't seek connection. They demand orbit. Every conversation must circle them. Every silence must wait for their voice. Every act of love must serve their self-made altar. This is not mere selfishness. It is a perversion of God's design. They do not reflect the divine image. They try to replace it. Scripture tells us even Satan can appear as an angel of light. So should we really be surprised when someone who speaks like a shepherd devours like a wolf. We've seen churches, families, relationships torn not by loud violence, but by the slow corrosion of truth. That's the craft of narcissism. It silences your voice while raising theirs to divine decree. And that's what makes it so dangerous. They are not sloppy liars or obvious bullies. They are artists of illusion, masters of imitation. They mirror your soul, but only to manipulate it. They don't carry your burdens, they weigh them for leverage. They don't love you, they don't love you, they use you to build their image. This is why narcissism is the most treacherous form of spiritual mimicry. It appears to lead but never serves. It mimics love but refuses vulnerability. It performs humility but will never bow. Wherever they remain unchallenged, damage grows like rot. A narcissist in the home creates fear, in the pulpit, spectacle. In friendship, resentment disguised as concern. But this is not the end of the story. If darkness can imitate light, then light can surely expose darkness. The solution is not suspicion, but discernment. True humility serves when no one watches. True love frees others. It does not consume them. You are not wrong to sense the inconsistency. You are not unkind to take a step back. You are not unloving to set boundaries with those who only bring confusion and control. If someone shines brightly but leaves you anxious, silenced, or small, that's not light. That's shadow in disguise. And there is no divine command that asks you to follow shadows. Truth sets free, love empowers, light brings clarity. Anything less is a danger to your soul. You were never created to orbit someone's ego. You were made to walk in the light, beside others who reflect, not steal, the glory of God. Narcissists break others to feel whole, not by mistake, not from pain, but as a calculated survival tactic. Unless someone is beneath them, they cannot feel above. To be adored, someone must feel disposable. To feel tall, someone must be crushed. Their intimacy is not shared life, but consumed energy. In the everyday world, we assume those who hurt us are simply hurting. But narcissists don't seek healing. They seek power. They wear tenderness as costume, compassion as bait, until you trust them. And once you trust, the trap is sprung. They don't see you as a soul. You're a platform, a stage, a means. And when the act is over, when the applause fades, they start to dismantle you piece by piece. A joke that cuts, a silence that wounds, a kindness withdrawn like punishment. And in that fog, you doubt. You try harder, you shrink, and in your shrinking they feel divine. But know this, their breaking of you was never your fault. Your light did not provoke their darkness. Your openness wasn't weakness. It was your strength. You mistook a lion's den for a sanctuary, not because you were foolish, but because you were faithful. You can reclaim what they stole, your voice, your clarity, your peace. Your well still runs deep if you dare to draw from it again. We live in a world that confuses love with silence and grace with enabling. But wisdom is love with its sleeves rolled up. Recognizing narcissism is not cruelty, it's stewardship. You are not meant to be a sacrifice for someone else's ego. You are made in the image of God, who restores, who vindicates, who heals. Rise. Not to retaliate, but to reclaim. Even if the narcissist breaks others to feel whole, you are not broken, you are scattered. And what is scattered can be gathered. What is wounded can be healed. And what is stolen, God will restore. The narcissist may speak of faith with eloquence, even scripture. But beneath the show, God is absent. Not because he left, but because he was never truly welcomed. Where the self is king, there is no throne for God. But the light of God, when it shines, exposes even the most convincing lies. He is the God who tears down idols, even those shaped like ourselves. He sees what others miss. He knows the cost you've paid. He hears the words twisted like blades, and he lifts you. You were never made to reflect their ego. You were made to reflect his glory. Discernment is love with eyes open, not naive, not paranoid, but bold, anchored, alive. To walk away is not hatred, it is healing, it is freedom. So walk with grace, with courage, with your heart still intact and your soul finally free.